Hey everyone, and welcome to my day 22 recap in the Karen Read case. A day dedicated to Dr. Welcher. Dr. Welcher, who was paid $400,000 and basically, to summarize his entire testimony, Karen Read made a three-point turn. John O'Keefe was found 7 feet off the ground. That was basically his testimony. Where was John O'Keefe hit? The arm, maybe? How hard was he hit? I don't know. At what point did she hit him? I don't know. At what angle did she hit him? I don't know. This was the great witness that every single anti-Karen Read person has been yelling about would come into court and wipe his shoes in ARCA. He is a magic worker. He had all this new tech data. Everyone loved Trooper Paul in the first case. He was so great. He was way better than ARCA. But wait till this guy shows up. And what he did was take Trooper Paul's report, choose another key cycle, and then his big revelation was John was dead. Remember, we haven't heard one single word about when, how, where Karen hit John in 22 days. We know Karen was outside Fairview. John was found outside Fairview. This case was made way better by Lally. Hank Brennan is getting $300,000 at least for running this case. Aperture is getting $400,000 to run this case. Trooper Paul, Adam Lally, Trooper Proctor, Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, all these people in the first trial did a way better job at trying to alert the jury to what happened. Brennan knows how bad this is. Brennan knows this should never, ever have been inside a courtroom. You can see it in his desperate filings. Oh, you can't allow the defense to ask questions about CVs that is public available knowledge because I didn't do my homework and I got shitty experts. That's not how you run a case. You can't even try and get anything from your expert about where John O'Keefe was hit. I've been watching 2 days of Dr. Welcher, and I am to believe John O'Keefe was standing somewhere. Was it at a flagpole? Was it at the Asian House? Was it in Canton at all? I don't know. Was he standing on the road, standing on the curb? I don't know. But John O'Keefe is standing like this with his glass in his hand, getting hit, crashing the tail light, and then careens off. And somewhere when he is spinning around, he stops and says, no, I don't want to spin anymore. Now I'm going to do a flat back bump, hit my head, and that's what's going to incapacitate me and kill me. You have to be paid by the MSP to sit online and say that's compelling evidence. But again, never trust a jury. We saw his reenactment where he showed the arm was here and John was hit center body. He even ended his direct by showing another accident that was absolutely the same, which it wasn't because it was a frontal impact. That person didn't have any breaks to its lower body either, but it has massive internal injuries. And this guy, Mr. $400,000, said exactly the same parameters. And because none of the damage seen in that accident is seen on John O'Keefe, it's exactly the same. None of the damage seen to the vehicle in the other case was seen on the Lexus, but it's exactly the same. You have to be effing kidding me. 400,000. I say this every time we talk about money. You should write on your tax slip, you owe me, if you pay taxes in Massachusetts. This guy, on cross-examination, and right out the gate, Alexei didn't do well. Alexei, sorry. He probably had a 4 out of 10 day. Yeah, I would put it at 4 out of 10. Because this witness was impossible to get a yes or no answer from. Even if he confirmed what Alexei was saying, he had to go through 20 minutes of saying he was wrong and then agreeing with him. When he said, well, technically, Alexis could launch into space, at that point, Bev should have stood up and said, jury, can you go out, please? And then tell Brennan, are you sure this guy has any credentials? Are you sure this is a witness you want to put in a courtroom? He was constantly on his phone, on his laptop, writing, fiddling around with everything, and he couldn't answer a GD question. It was infuriating, and sadly, because he was that bad, and Bev didn't tell him, you have to answer, and it's on the defense as well, they should have told the judge, can you instruct him to answer my questions? He overtalked the entire time. He reprimanded Bev. He was a horrible, horrible witness because you couldn't get a yes or no answer on the simplest question. He's the person who would say, is the sky blue? As a scientist, I have to say there is no such thing as the sky because the atmosphere is built of layers. So what are we talking about here? And if you're talking about blue, that's the water particles being hit by the sun. So, and he had this annoying little laugh like, oh, I'm so smart, you're so dumb. Did we get anywhere with him? I think we got some answers in there that works for the defense, but do they work in this context? I don't think the jury got them. I had a really good professor once when I was in culinary school. He had a way of always telling stories about, well, then I was drunk and I did this and this. And then he would talk about the subject. And if you focused in and got when he talked about the subject, he was one of the smartest teachers I've ever had. But a lot of people were just listening to the story about, oh, then I got drunk and then I was riding my moped. So they never understood that he was a good teacher because he was never teaching. Well, he was actually teaching, but his mind just wandered off in different directions. This guy, it seems, he is just there to be an obstruction. He knows he has no scientific proof or evidence. That's why he will just fight Alexei on every single thing. So I hope, we saw it the last time Alexei was, I have given Alexei grief before because even though he's a really great and systematic lawyer, he can't handle witnesses like this very well on the beginning. He's kind of like, when you see a great boxer getting into the ring and they are just too tight and it doesn't work. They're trying to put the jab out there, but it never really connects and they can't find the distance. And then they get slapped a few times in the head and it's kind of, okay, Now it's go time. He got to go time at the end yesterday, a little bit too late. The jabs were starting to connect, but I didn't see a hook. I didn't see an uppercut. I didn't see anything that really landed. And I think you have to know as much about the case as we do to figure out why it was this bad. But we ended with a Wardia about Scotty Bellows' report and Trooper Paul's, which he has relied on, even though he said, well, I just took a picture. I didn't read any of it. Where we're going with those questions, we have to find out today. And hopefully they have been back at the hotel last night and done some sparring and hyping our guy up. And I would, again, I'm not a lawyer. I hope they can come in today and say, Bev, before we start, can you instruct this witness to please answer the question? And can you instruct him to put his phone away, put his calculator away, put his smartwatch away because he was looking at his smartwatch getting messages at some point. Put everything away and then listen and answer my question. They are not that hard. I don't want to waste the jury's time. This guy needs to have an instruction to answer my questions. I hope they can do that. But Alessi, get the feet working. Do the good old thing from The Fighter. Great movie. Just when you walk in there, say, here we go again on my own. Going down the only road I ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone. And then you go in and give him the good old haymaker. In Alessi we trust, you need to put up today, bro, because you are great. You just have to crack this guy. And I think you can do it.